Welcome to H&D Abroad. Hello to everyone. I am Herman, and this is Man Monday. We welcome you back, those who are subscribers who've been with us before. And if you're new to H&D Abroad, I welcome you and I ask you to take a minute to like this video, to subscribe to our channel, and to share this video and many others with your family and friends so that they can come and find out about our page. On H&D Abroad, we strive to help Black couples to see moving abroad as a plan A, to assist with generational wealth and increasing a healthy lifestyle. We are excited to add new things to our process. We are growing. This Man Monday is one of our new ventures, and I really appreciate the support that you've shown joining with us as we talk about ways we as Black men can improve and grow in the community and around the world. Want to invite you to, if you haven't already, join our Patreon page. You can find that in our description. You have two ways to do that. You can be just a supporter, or you can join our community. Really want you to join our community. Be a part of our growing effort to increase the community of moving abroad, of Black people, of Black expats growing around the world. We want to have the opportunity to help Black people be more, do more, see more, explore more, return to our nomadic roots, our explorative roots, our who we were as travelers and explorers around the world, and not just in the small spaces that we live in. I see several people here in the chat. Want to say hi to D. Walker. Good to see you. Hey, Lori Butler. Stephen, good to see you. Looks like Maisha. Hey, good. Glad to see you all. Welcome. As we're joining in, we invite everybody to come in. Make yourself known. Say hello. Give a shout out. Drop your name. Let us know you're here. All are welcome in this conversation. It's an open conversation. We are centering men on Monday, the conversation, because we're trying to build and improve the community of Black men in the move abroad process, but not just in the move abroad process, just as a community together of growing and learning together, supporting one another. This is as I said last week when I was on, this is a challenging venture for me because I'm an engager. So there's something that I say all the time that I stick to, even though I'm sitting here by myself without my wonderful wife, Dee, and that this is a conversation. I'm just moderating thoughts and ideas, and hopefully we can build a conversation together and explore new ways to understand ourselves as Black people, as citizens, as not just citizens of the United States, but as global citizens as well. So let's have a conversation. Hey, KB, good to see you. Interact in the chat. Shoot me questions if you have questions. If you have thoughts and comments, we'll try to interact all together. Again, if you're new to our channel, please like this video. If you're here now, take a minute, like this video, then share and subscribe with others. We want the men in your lives to be a part of a conversation. We're living very isolated a lot of times, and we're wanting to create conversation that is now being more community-based, more engaging. Today, we had the honor of celebrating the birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who is, of course, an integral figure in the civil rights movement and equality movement of Blacks in America, and thus spurred the equality and engagement of cultures and peoples, not only all over this culture, but around the world. It was an opportunity today to reflect on our journey, our experience, um, not only where we have been, but also where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to see the world new. And so our topic tonight was from the time period just prior to the assassination of Dr. King. And that was during the 1968 sanitation workers strike in Memphis, Tennessee. Two sanitation workers were killed when their garbage truck fell on them. And it highlighted the poor working conditions that the workers had at the time as sanitation workers. A large percentage, the majority percentage of the workers at the sanitation department were Black men. And they were being excluded from being able to partake in labor unions. They were being excluded. They had low pay, poor working conditions, um, and the growth and the opportunities that were afforded their white counterparts were being denied to them by a white supremacist who was governor. And so they organized and went on strike. And they went on strike for several months in the beginning months of 1968. During that strike, we got the famous speech by Dr. King, "I have a dream." I may not make it, the famous statement, "I may not make it there with you." And a couple of months later, he was assassinated. During that strike, a gentleman by the name of Bill Lucy created a placard slogan that said, "I am a man." It highlighted several things. One, that often Black men were being treated like children, were called boy. That term is and was and continues to be a trigger point for Black men, Black people, and Black men in particular till today. Even if it's not intentionally meant that way, sometimes it is a trigger point. And there are others that sometimes have similarity. I tend to find myself, I struggle with the phrase buddy. Hey, buddy. Even when it's meant from people who don't mean anything by it, sometimes that rubs me the wrong way, because it sounds condescending, feels condescending to me at times. But the slogan, "I am a man," it identified not only that they were adult men, but that they were fully men. That they were not, that they were fully citizens, that they were fully human being. And it rallied Blacks across the country. And they were eventually successful in that endeavor, in that strike, to get the things they need. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, Lori says in Texas they call people gal. Yeah, there are little phrases, and they might say them to each other, but when it's directed at us, sometimes it really can rub you the wrong way. It's a big touch point. There had been other slogans over the course of history. For instance, one popular one was by an abolitionist in 1787 that said, am I not a man and a brother?" It showed a slave bending down with his hands up, pleading, saying, am I not a man and a brother? It was directed at um, other whites to encourage them to enslave people as humans and to encourage their freedom. But the "I am a man" statement was written by a black man, was worn by black men, and it was not a plea, it was a declaration. It was a statement that said, you need to see me, you need to acknowledge me, I stand up for myself. We just crossed into 2024, and sometimes I think we are still fighting to prove that we are men, that not just we are adults, but that we are whole men, that we are established, and that we are creative and intelligent, and that we are a force to be reckoned with in the American society. Um, we fight in the job place to have opportunities that resemble um, quality opportunities, quality jobs, um, opportunities that say, um, I've put in the effort and I have the expertise and knowledge to do this job, to do this job well, and to be highly successful at it. Um, in areas, we tend to still live in cities where there are certain high concentrations of African American people. And in those areas, we find that high quality jobs are often lacking. So we tend to be low in the percentage of jobs that are of high quality and high in the jobs that are often seen as low quality. Um, and finding an opportunities to say, I am a man, um, we find lacking. Um, Stephen said here, they know what they're doing with using certain language, then always want to say, I didn't mean anything by it. Um, we get into these, what is racist conversations? How do I define that you're being ignorant or you're pretending to be ignorant? That you're backpedaling because you've recognized you've hit a nerve, you've hit a trigger point with me, you've made me upset, versus you are so ignorant that you don't recognize that this is poor behavior or poor language, and leaves us in this balance of trying to either educate you or correct you. Um, not your nanny, not your caretaker. We are supposed to be a unified society, but yet we spend our time as Black men trying to say to people, "I need you to speak to me with some respect." And if I come to you with frustrations and concerns and um, a desire to express my disappointment in my circumstance, that I am a legitimate person speaking to you about concerns, I'm not an angry Black man, that I am not a threat, uh, that I am not being irrational. Um, that I am a man because it came from a Black man. Um, it had force behind it that said, I don't need a white man to speak for me. I don't need a white man to stand up for me. Not don't misunderstand me. We're not talking about support as a people, as a community. We're not talking about rejecting the efforts of other people to speak up for us. We're talking about stepping in and putting in more effort to speak up for ourselves. Um, it frustrates me to say that I might have to whitewash my house if I'm going to sell it before an appraiser sees it so that I can get the value I want for it, even though 90% of my neighbors are Caucasian. I want the value of my home to speak for itself. Um, I don't want to have to borrow a white friend to come and show my house. I'm I don't want the white world to continue to have to speak for me. But we find that we spend our time trying to prove that we are legitimate. Um, I got a comment on my last video, and the person was stating that they were explaining to a white partner why they get a receipt every time they go to the store. And they said that unconsciously they get a receipt because they don't want anybody to question them about the purchases that they made when they walk out the door. And I commented and said that, I say to my wife, she always like, why are you getting the bag? And I was like, if it's in a bag, it meant that the cashier put it in the bag, which means when I walk out the store with the bag and the receipt, I can visually validate that I purchased this. Because I've seen even Black people standing at the door watching me with the package in my hand, even though they can see the big receipt. I am not so brazen that I would walk out of a store with a gallon of water visually to the world that I did not purchase. Not saying that there aren't people who don't do it, but I've been stopped at the line at the store to show my receipt when several other people who were not Black went walking by me with more things than what I had. I'm tired of trying to prove that I'm a man. I am a man. When I was a kid, they used to tell us, if you have to say that you're a man, you're not. But I'm going to push back on that right now. I think it's time to say I am a man, not I'm manly, not I'm mannish, not trying to pound my chest and prove my masculinity, but that I am a whole person, and my skin color and my cultural history do not decrease me in any way. Um, I don't know. I'm They often try to control the narrative and deny us the full range of our emotions. They are very aggressive with the pretense of fake niceness. It's a very thin and dangerous line because, as they like to say, I have some white friends. and how do I differentiate between the person who is my friend, period, and the person who is friendly to me because they feel non-threatened? Um, when 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 Donald ran for office, um, it exposed um, differences, political differences. which in and of itself, if you ask my opinion, isn't a problem, isn't a big deal. Hey, the fact that we disagree, the fact that we see life differently, that we approach politics differently is not an issue to me. But when people who with you have conversations every day begin now to not talk to you because they don't want this to become a fight, or now feel the need to explain why, this ought to be that. Or, a guy stood in front of me and told me, why he deserved more. Why he deserved more in affirmative action was irrelevant and inappropriate because he had done this and he had done that. And I was like, then your point is what? You when you have not been disenfranchised, when you have not been mistreated and misplaced, when you have not been dropped down on the list because you walked in the door and looked like you look, then you can't say nothing to me. You can't, you have nothing to tell me. If you can validate as a white person that you stood here and they gave all these people a chance because they were racially different than you and they put you at the bottom of the list, you clearly have a discrimination cause. Go for that. But that's not the common standard of what is seen in America today. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. And not only, yeah, I've often shown my receipt to the little camera right there, the cash register. Make sure when I walk out of here, you're not following me, you're not checking me. Um, uh, I have tried on sweaters in the store, standing at the mirror and taking them off, put them back on the hanger, holding them in my hand. When I put them in a buggy, I've gotten a buggy just so I can put one thing in it, so it's not in my hand. I'm a Gulf War veteran who never thought of immigrating to another country until 2016. Yeah, the politics of this country. And I call myself a native. I was raised in the state of Florida. We moved to Florida when I was prior to first grade. So I grew up in Florida. And the politics that are Florida right now, I am ashamed of. I am highly and disappointed because the intentional effort to tear down the diversity of humanity in Florida is disappointing. It's not whether we agree or disagree. There are some things that are not political issues. Your love life is not my political issue. Um, you know, your your orientation is not my political issue. That's your personal life and business, and how you choose to move through that is something you should protect and you should be able to handle for your life. Um, I, but those are signs that are moving into the most intricate parts of the fabric of American society. Freedom is not always free. Um, I can't wait to leave, Bill. I, I am trying to get our affairs in order every day so that we can, my wife and I, and any of my children that are so inclined to try to do so as well, even though they're young adults, to make a move out, to have more control of my destiny. I'm 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 not trying to currently. I have no desire to renounce my citizenship. I understand the benefits. I know how to maximize on the benefits of being a U.S. citizen, but I recognize that being on this soil is not necessarily benefiting me when you feel you still have to speak to me like I'm a boy. Um, my mama gave me this baby face. And so it's I often find myself prefacing my age with conversations that I have with people, um, because they talk to me different when they hear that I'm 50 and not 30. Um, that the bigger part of that that bothers me is that why should a 30-year-old be spoken to any differently? A grown man is a grown man. An adult is an adult. And when I have to justify my actions, when I have to 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 prelude my move forward in this space by the fact that I'm a grown man, um, and then you wonder why I'm angry. Uh, I I am excited to be a learning, growing individual. That I never want to stop learning. I never want to stop growing. Um, but between the time of the civil rights movement to today, how much are we making a connection between the continual growth and I said in the title, in the evolution as Black men? Are we evolving? Um, are do we only come together during crisis? A part of the plan of this Man Monday is to bring men into a conversation that becomes a habit, a consistent process that's not just in little pockets here and there that only benefit us when who we are, but that become a movement of growth and standing. I believe that Black men standing together transform the world. Um, Several years ago, I was a member of a church where we began a men's ministries process. It was tumultuous at first because some of our biggest advocates were some of our wives. The trust factor in Black men coming together to do things together brought a level of distrust, which more often than not I see in our community. Founded or not, it legitimate or not, it was hard to overcome because we had to prove that we were together for community as well as in an effort to build up the congregation we were a part of. That that growth and that strength of those men in that congregation changed the the direction and the success and the process of that church in ways that affected the city. Um, we were a small congregation, and we eventually didn't have room for all the people who came to participate because we as men decided to lead. We as men decided to join together and be a unified front for our families, for our community, and probably more importantly, for one another. Um, it is as men we tend to find our quiet corners. Uh, Sometimes it's due to, hey, we've been fighting the fight all day at work. We've been uh, we've been trying to prove ourselves all day. We've been trying to show that we're this and we're that, and we're not this and we're not that, and we don't make connections. We've lost the ability to trust one another. We've lost the ability to connect with one another. We've lost the ability to be vulnerable with one another. Um, but the the example that was set for us by those engaging in the civil rights movement is you see men arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, linked together, marching the streets. They did not always agree. They did not always have the same ideas and plans. They did not always have the same directions, but their joining together and connected together made them a strong force that was not broken. Let's see. Agreed. I'm happy for us making the choice to no longer participate in this abusive relationship. Agreed. MX Girl says it'll be out in January 2025. Congratulations. Yes. Inauguration day is going to be interesting. KB is planning to leave within the next 17 months. D and I are trying to get out of here this year. We have been on this house sit for about 2 weeks now. And I feel the energy returning to my body. I feel the creativity returning. This endeavor has been a part of that. Get out of the grind, get out of the everyday, get out of the hole, and do it all over again. And that's the process that I'm in now. I am proud to be a man, a whole man, and a Black man. These endeavors, these conversations, these engagements, I am learning and growing. And I need my brothers to be a part of this conversation. David, I see you out there tonight. Good to see you. Nikki, it's good to see you. I see Lori Butler. Good to see you. I'm looking for our men to be a part of this conversation. Share these conversations with the Black men in your lives, because I want us to expand that together. It is a daily effort. It is just like exercising, which I'm about to go and do. you got to put a little bit in every day. It has to become second nature to you. And for the first little while, it hurts. It is inconvenient. It is uncomfortable. It is unfamiliar. But a good exercise regime helps you sleep at night. A good exercise regime takes the stress and poor toxins out of your body. A good exercise regime makes you choose better ways to eat, which makes your digestion better. And when you exercise community, men, when we exercise engagement, when we show that we are trusting and trustworthy, that we are not a threat, not only to the other citizens of our country, but we're also not a threat to the women, the Black women in our lives. Our unity together does not symbolize um, bad behavior, poor intentions. Um, we desire to grow, to unify, to strengthen. Uh, yes, we need to feel stress leaving our bodies. It's cold here where we are. Snowed today, and then I went and took a walk in the snow, and and you know, it was great to just relax together. To know that we weren't going to work today, uh, not because we were being lazy, but that we were just investing in one another, and that investment is intentional. We both had a lot of things we wanted to do today or could have done today, and we could have spent that time doing that. But that investment in each other was something we put the effort into and said this is important. The growth of a Black male community has to be on the same premise. We have to intentionally invest in one another and what we're doing. So those are my few words tonight. We are again honored to remember Dr. King. Dr. King um, was lost to us just 5 years before I was born. The effects of the civil rights movement were still in place. And we are back in a cycle again that is not pretty. So, what are we going to do? Where have we grown and where have we yet to grow individually and as a community? And I encourage us to ask that question and to spend more time together growing and learning. I am Herman. This is H&D Abroad. Thank you for being with me on Man Monday. Again, take time to join our Patreon page and join our email list and newsletters. We are dropping new stuff all over the place. We'll get more information to you starting this week about the upcoming masterclass. This is a growing process, and you are our community. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a great week. See you soon.